All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hashtag Truth. Tonight we have the one, the only, the Deathmatch Messiah himself, Mr. Lazarus Black. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. Been taking things easy this week and getting ready for some stuff that's coming up. But yeah, man, I'm doing
Okay.
pretty good.
I got you. You're still in one piece, so ain't nobody sliced you up good enough or poked you hard enough to get you to get out of the game yet. So that's good to see.
Yeah, I mean, they tried pretty hard back in, I think it was August. I had a shard of glass go into my arm, sever an artery.
I
Uh,
I, I heard about that. How did
yeah,
that
I was
go,
in
man?
the, dude, it honestly wasn't that bad. Um, like, I think I was probably the least freaked out. it
Okay.
was it was other people that were panicking who aren't around deathmatch a lot.
Right, right.
Like there was a medic there and he was freaking out. But my wife, who's always the one who patches me up, um, she was able to kind of keep her cool. I get to the hospital, couple stitches. Uh, Turns out if you walk into an emergency room with a tourniquet on your arm, they send you to the back pretty quick.
Well, I'll remember that.
Yeah, I walked in and the lady goes, "So what happened?" And I said, "I got a cut." And she goes, "Do you think it needs stitches?" And I said, "Probably." And then another nurse comes around the corner and he goes, "Is that a tourniquet?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "All right, let's go on back now."
Yeah, yeah. Let's head to the back. There's something more than just a poke. Um,
Mm.
that confused me when you said that, bro. That the medic got freaked out. You would think that a
So
medic would, be the one that's calm and okay, let's do this, let's do this. Okay, you need to go to the hospital.
yeah, I think what he was freaking out about was the fact that nobody else was freaking out.
Ah,
Like
okay.
he was more concerned about the fact that I was telling him like he was trying to clean all these like smaller cuts and stuff. And I just told him, I was like, "Dude, they'll clean that at the hospital. Tape
Right,
it up, let me go."
right.
So he was really weirded out about that. But uh no, I was wrestling the next week and then
Wow.
I did another death match 2 weeks later.
Wow. So to say you're not scared of doing this is an understatement. It's just
Oh yeah. Dude, I did the death match with the stitches still in my arm.
oh wow. And now, for those of you who are watching tonight, every time we have Lazarus on, we go over deathmatch and what deathmatch is and everything else. For people who don't understand it, me personally, I was like, I'll never go see a deathmatch until I, interviewed Laz here and he explained everything to me. I think the last time you were on was 8 months ago, and we went over the match that you and your ex partner had against each other, the death match that you guys had, and you were explaining
Yeah.
everything and how that match went, and you taught me a whole lot.
Well, dude, I've come to realize a couple of things that like a lot of people who say they don't like deathmatch or that's not real wrestling, it usually comes from a place of, well, this is that new garbage. But what they're not
Right.
realizing is that deathmatch started in Puerto Rico back in the 70s.
Okay. Okay.
And then went to Japan in the late 80s, early 90s, and that's where you got glass introduced with FMW. And then
Okay.
it came to the US with XPW, CZW, um, and now you have like the modern production of deathmatch. But it's
Right.
been around pretty much as long as the golden era of wrestling.
So who was the first death match participant that you looked up to? That oh my gosh, I've got to do this because I saw this guy do it.
So the first person I probably looked up to was Atsushi Onita. Um, he's the guy that started FMW in Japan. When you think of the big exploding barbed wire matches and piranha tank matches and all the crazy stuff, it was FMW.
Piranha tank matches? Did you just say piranhas?
Yeah, piranha tank death match. The object of the match is to hold your opponent in a piranha tank for 3 uninterrupted seconds. I can't remember who was in that match, but you can find it on YouTube.
So you could literally get dipped in there and be pulled out with piranhas like tearing up your legs.
Yeah, man, the guy who lost the match, he had like a massive chunk taken out of his chest right here by one. So the thing about piranhas is they're not nearly as dangerous as people think they are because they've seen the movies and stuff. They usually won't attack anything that's alive unless it threatens them. So the
Right.
only reason he got bitten was because one was on his chest and it scared him, so he hit it. And out
Oh,
of reflex, it bit him. But I mean, like, you had guys like Steve-O with the Wild Boys doing like piranha dunk tank and stuff like that.
right. Jack
They're
Morgan's
really
on
not that dangerous.
here. Jack Morgan said Mr. Slap himself.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter's on here.
Oh,
Destiny said, how you doing?
hello.
My dad's on here. He wants to know what's the worst death match you've had.
Ooh. So if you're talking about like bad match, there's a couple, but I'm not gonna name those just because those guys are my friends.
Right.
But if you're talking about like brutal,
Brutal.
it's
Go brutal.
it was probably my match with Tristan Ramsey.
Okay.
We went through so many light tubes and barbed wire and just the toll it took on our bodies. Like in the grand scheme of things, it was a standard death match,
Right.
but just the toll it took of doing that type of match to the intensity that we did it,
Right.
it hurt for a solid month.
Wow. Now explain to people who are, like into professional wrestling, but they look down on deathmatch because they think that there's no storytelling. Explain what a real deathmatch is as a whole. It's not just stabbing each other with everything they can get a hold of and making you bleed. You guys actually do tell a story.
Yeah, I mean, I have yet to step in the ring with someone or to even talk to someone in the deathmatch circuit who didn't start as a traditional pro wrestler
Right. I
and
mean,
then
you gotta
evolved.
know the moves. You gotta know the
Yeah,
actual wrestling.
like you still have to know chain wrestling. You still have to know how to call spots, ring psychology, heel face dynamics. You have to know all of that. But when you talk to a lot of the people who don't like deathmatch, their only idea of what deathmatch is or what they think deathmatch is like backyard wrestling.
Right.
And I mean like and I'm not even talking about like XPW backyard wrestling,
Right.
like the actual two idiots in a backyard hurting themselves because they don't know how to wrestle. But when you watch stuff, there's one match I always tell people to watch. It's Jun Kasai and Masada at Freedoms.
Okay.
And it is a brutal, violent match that is probably 30 minutes long. But the first 10 minutes of it is just a story of neither of us actually want to put our bodies through this. But if I cut you up enough, you lose enough blood, you're going to go down.
Right.
And it's this constant stream of reversals and stops and pauses and crowd work. It's really beautiful to watch when it's done right.
I'm definitely gonna. You're gonna have to let me know the names of those two at the end of the show so I can write them down. And I want to go watch that match. I really do.
Oh yeah,
Because,
it's
like
a
I
great
said, when
match.
I first talked to you the first time, this is like the third time you've been on my show, but the last time you really got in depth with, what deathmatch is and everything. And I was clueless. I was one coming in going, I don't think I like deathmatch, but I watched your matches. I went and watched a few other matches. Now, there are some matches out there, like some bar fight matches that, all it is just seeing how much they could bleed. I mean, there was no wrestling moves in it, no wrestling ring.
Oh yeah. Well,
I'm not into that one.
the response I always give to people, because I do no ring, I do bar fights and all that stuff. A lot of those people, they also love like Mick Foley.
Right.
And I'm like, this is the guy who got slammed on a barbed wire board with C4 under it and got blown up.
Yeah.
And I'm not one of those people who will say like, oh, deathmatch wrestling isn't about shock value. Because it
Right.
is. It's supposed to be shocking. But when you look at like ECW, that was supposed to be shocking.
Right.
When you see the Rotten Brothers coming out doing Taipei matches with glass on their hands, or New Jack carving up mass transit like it was a Thanksgiving turkey,
Right.
it was shock value.
Right.
And it brings people in. The way I've always said it is, I like Bud Light. You like Coors Light. I don't think Coors Light is stupid. Why do
Right.
you think Bud Light is stupid?
Right. I got you. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Now you knew we were not going to get through a whole show. My daughter thought I was gonna try to leave it alone, but my daughter's gonna ask it. Let's just get it out of the way. Are you and Ryan Mantis ever gonna get back to tag teaming again? Hashtag Black Society.
So I get asked this question all the time. Like there are probably, just on the Black Society page, there are 20 messages of people asking this. And I mean, honestly, no, probably not. Actually, no, definitely not. Uh, it's to a point where Ryan and I have such different goals in the wrestling industry
Right.
that our goals actually inhibit each other.
Right.
My goal of being the top deathmatch guy in the world is inhibited by his goal of being the top technical guy in the world.
There you
And
go.
we can't be a tag team trying to do those two things together.
Right. Right. It makes
So
sense.
now,
It makes sense.
now
Not to
he's
say
up
that
at
we're not going to
School of
miss it.
Morton.
Not to say we're not going to miss it, because we loved you guys together, but I can understand what you're saying, though.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll say this: like, there is no person that I have tagged with that I've had better chemistry in ring with as a tag team partner. But like I said, it's one of those things where we figured it was best to go our separate ways as a tag team.
Yeah.
We still talk. Uh, we There is no bad blood or anything like that.
The friendship is still there. It's just you guys. It would be the same thing as if you two both ran a company and you wanted to run a company one way, he wanted to run a company another way. You guys did good together, but it came to a point where you got to separate to go to your individual goals. That's basically what you're saying, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So there's nothing wrong with that at all, and it happens all the time, all the time in professional wrestling, man. I mean, look what happened with the Rockers, Marty
Yeah,
Jannetty, and my mind just went blank.
Sean.
Shawn Michaels, yeah. Shawn became a big hit, and Marty just didn't want to put in the work. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Jack Morgan said, "Tell the story about your beard."
About my beard?
What? I don't
I
know.
don't
What
know.
story? I like moonshine. What the heck are you talking about, Jack
I
Morgan?
have no idea.
I have.
I got
Jack
no
Morgan did
clue.
say, though, Jack Morgan did say, and I agree, believe it or not, Lazarus can wrestle. I know he can wrestle. I've watched him wrestle many times. Many
Yeah,
times.
I get so much hate about my deathmatch stuff, and it's funny to me because the people are always saying things like, you can't wrestle. And I'm like, a year and a half ago, you were in my inbox asking me how to train you to wrestle.
Right? There are
And
people
I
like
said
that.
no.
Now, when you get to a show, okay, whether it is a show you run, because you told me before we're going to talk about a show that you're helping run, um,
Yeah.
a death match show. But if you come to a show, any show, is there anything that if they don't have something set up that you will refuse to do a death match?
Um,
Does it have to be set up a certain way? Because, ladies and gentlemen, these guys don't just show up, bring a bunch of glass, beat each other up. There's a person on there. There's a medical person there. There's people that know what to do if something goes wrong. There's people that are on standby on the phones. I'm pretty sure that if something were to go wrong, they could 911's on speed dial. You know what I'm saying? You
yeah.
can explain it better than me.
There's been a couple of times where there's been some issues. Like a big one for me is blood tests.
Okay.
I have people at home that I have to take care of,
Right.
and bloodborne pathogens are a real thing. So if someone doesn't have recent blood work, or at least someone that can vouch for their blood work,
Right.
then I'm not going to get in the ring with them.
Right. Age
A
is
lot
real.
of the guys,
Age is real.
yeah, and I mean, like you've got guys like Ian Rotten, who piece of garbage, but was getting in the ring with hepatitis C and infecting people, or Abdullah the Butcher was doing the same thing. And obviously now there are a lot more checks involved in that.
Right.
Like I wrestled the Hardcore Hillbilly just recently. I didn't feel the need to ask him about his blood work because he wrestles for XPW, which is a company I know checks his blood work. So like that's realistically the only thing. Uh, Medics, not having medics doesn't really bother me. My wife is my medic, or I'm my own medic.
Okay.
A lot of times the boys are like helping each other out. Uh,
Is there
I
anything that somebody has set up? Like you came to a show and one of the other guys looked at you and said, "Hey, man, I want to try this," and you looked at it and went, "I don't know about that." Is there anything that like that, like some kind of like barbed wire board with this and that, something? It just looked like too much. Have you ever said no to anything?
um not really. There have been things that I said I personally wouldn't take that still got used in one of my matches. Like there was this board that a fan brought that was covered in like the taxidermied pufferfish that you get from like the Myrtle Beach souvenir
Yeah, I know what
stores.
you're talking about.
And it was like 8 or 9 of them on this board, and I was wrestling Brad Cash.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes up and he's smiling and he holds it up. I said, I'm not doing it. And he goes, I am. I said, you're damn right you are, because I'm not.
I'm not doing it.
So I mean, like, there's a couple of things that like I've seen people get weirded out about, but doesn't really bother me personally. Nothing that's been like actually set up for me.
Okay.
There have been some things that I've seen that I've said I would never do.
Like jump off a building on top of a table full of barbed wire or something. Is there? Would you do something like
Uh
that?
oh yeah. Oh yeah, I'd come off top of a building all day. The
You're a
one
bigger
that
man than
freaks
me,
me
Laz. I
out
ain't gonna lie.
is scissor boards. They're
Okay.
big in Japan, and I've seen them go really badly to a point where like entire blades of scissors are in someone's back. Or just recently, I want to say it was Jimmy Lloyd. The video went viral again of him having a pair of scissors stuck in his neck.
Oh.
And like, so scissors scare me.
What about glass panes?
Oh,
I mean, you
glass
said you had
panes.
that
I'll.
glass go in your arm. How did that glass go in your arm?
So it was um me and Remington Roar. Uh, Actually, if you forgive the glitchiness for a second, I'll send you the clip.
Okay, you good. He's gonna
Let's
gonna
see.
send me the clip. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking with Lazarus Black, the Boulevard Street Butcher, or the Deathmatch Messiah, as I like calling him. Mama Hester said, "Hey, Laz." I know Laz can still hear us. Ben Wright said, "Yo." Mama Hester said, "Deathmatch just scared the crap out of me. Don't disrespect your choice, but I hope and pray Cutter never does that." It's just not for everybody, Mama Hester. But you know, there is people who are buying tickets left and right to go see it, though. Ben said, "When did independent shows start testing blood?" We'll have to ask Laz that when he comes back. He's sending me a clip right now, so if you're wondering where he went, he's in the process of sending a clip. Tommy Scott said, "What's up?" Hashtag What's up, Lazarus? You had a great conversation with Ron on the wire yesterday. Yes, he had a very good conversation on the Wrestling Wire yesterday with Ron. It was a great show. I watched it the next day. I had actually watched the first 15, 20 minutes of it, and I told him before the show, I said I had turned it off to go do something else just before they came on. So I watched the rest of it the next morning, like I always do. And Ron does a great show over there. Go check out the Wrestling Wire, without a doubt, man, and you will see Lazarus Black. So that was definitely a good show.
I just sent it to you. I
Mhm.
heard Mama Cutter. Believe me, I hope Zach never does one either. Um, that kid has so much technical ability. And it's not one of those things of me saying, like, you don't need to do this, because no one does. I don't
Right.
need to do deathmatch. I do it because I enjoy it. But at the end of the day, um, Cutter's style of wrestling is risky enough to himself with the high
He is
flying.
a high flyer, yes.
And I don't want to see him go into that level of
Right.
riskiness because I know the heart that kid has. And I know that he would never say no to something crazy.
Ben was asking about when did independent shows start testing blood. He said, "I'm just saying I've been wrestling since I was 17. I'm 36 now, and it's never been a thing and probably is not a thing unless it's a high-end indie promotion."
Oh, yeah. So that is the thing. It is mostly high end places. They aren't paying to test your blood. It's you bring the blood test to them and show them the
Right.
results.
Right.
So companies like XPW, I think CZW does it. Pretty sure Big Japan does it.
Right.
It is the like higher level indie companies. Yeah, it's not every deathmatch company. It's kind of an honor system thing of like, hey, I'll show you my paperwork. Let me see your paperwork. Or if I know you and I trust you, then there's no issue.
So
Um,
let's watch that. I got it uploaded. Let's go ahead and watch the moment when you got that glass put in your arm. Here it is.
Out. Go.
So there it is. So were you scared when you? I mean, you looked like you knew something was wrong when you rolled out. When he threw you out, you kind of
Yeah,
landed. You could tell you were like, oh, oh, oh. And I usually don't see you. You know, I could tell. You know, selling and really being in pain. You were in pain, bro.
yeah, it hurt. It was not one of those cuts where it was so sharp that you don't feel it. It hurt because it punched into my arm.
Oh,
Um, I knew something was wrong uh, off the bat. At one point, you can see Ghazi taking off her wrist tape because at first I was going to try to just tape it up and just
right.
finish the match. But when I went to show Rim, the guy who was holding me there, I
Right.
went to show him the cut. I squeezed my fist and blood squirted up.
Oh no.
And he goes, "No, that's an artery. Get out, go to the hospital."
Yeah. Gotta go get
Luckily,
seen at that point.
luckily the match was a triple threat. So I came out, Brad Cash got in and finished out the match with Rim. The crowd left happy. It was still a good night.
Well, I'm just glad to know you're okay, man. How long did that take to heal, or are you still healing?
Oh no, it's healed up. I got a little scar. Um, but it took probably 2.5 weeks for the cut to actually close up fully.
Oh,
But since it hit like muscle tissue and stuff like that under it, to get the full use back of my arm and full strength back, it probably about 2 weeks ago, I finally
okay.
felt like 100%. So, couple
Okay.
months.
I got you, man. I mean, this side of wrestling is not for everyone. The squeamish can't do it at all. If you're scared of blood at all, yeah, you I mean, there are some wrestlers out there who won't juice themselves. So they're
Yeah.
just totally scared of it. I mean, there are horror stories of guys, going to juice themselves and they end up, cutting too deep and they end up, in the hospital with a bunch of stitches and you know,
Well, I mean, Eddie Guerrero years ago in that match with Bradshaw, he bladed, and as he was going, Bradshaw clubs him in the back, and the blade slips across and ends up going through the artery in his forehead.
oh,
Um, I remember I was in a match with Big Tat years ago, and he got himself pretty bad.
Big Tat, man. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Yeah,
Wow. It's
yeah,
been probably 5 years since I've heard that name. Wow.
that was a hardcore match I did a long time ago, dude.
Right? My dad wants to know who's number one on your list right now. Who you going after right now?
Uh, hmm. Man, that's a tough one. The match I've been
You can't tell me there isn't any death match championships out there that you're not looking for.
Oh man, the one that I have always wanted to do the most is me against JJ Escobar at POR. That's a show I've always wanted to wrestle on because it's an absolute madhouse. When you see the clips of like one of the clips that went viral was Mercer gorilla press throwing someone off of a roof onto a barbed wire trampoline.
Oh,
That was at POR, or the cars going through campers while someone's taking a Michinoku driver off the top of it.
oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah, it's a wild show, dude. It's
Yeah,
a
that's
wild
way
show.
above and beyond.
And it's one I've always wanted to be on.
You have to really know what you're doing and have really good timing to do stuff like that, though.
Oh yeah, dude. That's the show that really blew up. There's a Vice documentary about those guys.
Okay.
Because they are just absolute maniacs.
Okay. I got one more question to ask you. Then we're going to watch you promo and then we're going to watch you wrestle.
All right.
The one question is, I saw you. I was looking at your Facebook page today because I always do prep before my show, and I'm looking down your Facebook page. And one of the things you said on your Facebook page kind of grabbed me. You were talking about a jacket that you wanted. You have to explain this jacket to me because when you said that, I'm thinking, the golfers go for the green jacket at the Masters, and I'm like,
Okay.
you're not golfing here. What is this jacket all about?
Okay. So in Tokyo, there is a steakhouse.
Okay.
And this steakhouse has kind of become a rite of passage for professional wrestlers making their tour through Japan.
Okay.
Because you can't buy those jackets.
Okay.
They only are given out by the owner of the steakhouse to wrestlers that he feels are worthy of wearing them. And the names of the people who have these jackets, you've got guys like John Moxley, Mickey Knuckles, CM Punk, I think has one, Seth Rollins has one. It is one of those things where it's a really big deal to a really niche group
It's
of
almost
people.
like a Hall of Fame. It's almost like a Hall of Fame jacket because
Yeah,
only a chosen few get it.
yeah, and when you walk in,
Okay.
there are like pictures all over the walls, ceiling, everywhere.
Like dojo
Of
pictures.
Yeah, basically, and it's different wrestlers, a Polaroid of them wearing the jacket, and then the autograph of that person.
Okay. Okay, I got you. But
Yeah,
but do they do wrestling shows at this place or is it just
no,
this guy just
it's
loves wrestling?
this guy is obsessed with wrestling.
Okay.
And it's especially a big thing for people who wrestle at BJW.
Okay.
So yeah, it's kind of like a rite of passage, especially in the deathmatch world where it means you made it.
Okay. There you go. See, I was just curious because I've never heard of somebody. You always see people on their social media page, talking up, oh, I gotta win this belt. And then here you are going, I want this jacket. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, I want a
What in the
Ribera
world is he
steakhouse
talking
jacket.
about?
Like I want a Ribera steakhouse jacket. That's what I
There
want.
you go. It makes sense now. I'm glad. Thank you for explaining that to me because now I don't think you're that crazy.
Yeah.
Jack Morgan said he's scared of Fireball.
Oh, a Fireball the drink? Absolutely. I hate Fireball. There are so many bad memories and lost memories because of Fireball for me.
Any kind of cinnamon alcohol will tear
Yeah,
you up from the floor up, man.
it cinnamon alcohol, like Fireball tastes bad enough coming down, and
Right,
I have tasted
right.
it way too many times coming back.
He also wants to know why are you scared of Rage? Is this Rage Davidson?
Rage Davidson? I'm not scared of Rage Davidson. I've wrestled
Uh-oh.
Rage Davidson like 7 times. uh
My dad wants to know when did you say you wanted to be a wrestler? I never asked that question. How long have you been in the business? How did it get started? How long have you been in? You know the drill.
so I've been in wrestling for around 10 years.
Okay.
Um there's been a lot of concussions that I can't remember the exact date I started.
Right. That's
But
understandable.
uh
We're about to watch him wrestle, and you'll understand exactly why he's saying that.
yeah, but I always wanted to be a pro wrestler. For as long as I can remember, my dad was doing it. We were going to. There was a show in Joanna, South Carolina called SCW, Southern Championship Wrestling, that
Okay.
was run by a guy that everyone called Cowboy.
Okay.
Um, and there were a couple of guys that some people know that came out of there. Amp Dominic was wrestling there under the name Kid Chaos back then.
Right.
My dad was there. Bubba Hogg and Dixie were there.
So you're a second generation wrestler.
Yeah. My dad was Ace Hardy. Was really big up and down the Eastern Seaboard.
Okay. Now this was back when the territories were here, right?
Uh, Yeah,
right? I
yeah.
mean, part of it had to be.
He started during the territories and worked all the way up until I think he retired around 2007, 2008, somewhere in that
Okay,
range.
okay,
And
sounds right.
then he came back out of retirement for one tag match when him and the Amazing Velvet, rest in peace, tagged against me and Ryan.
Okay, I got you. Sean Duffy, my West Coast connection, said hello and good evening from Fallen, Nevada. Lazarus Black, you need to convert your scruffy looking Nerf herder.
No, no, I will never convert. This side has whiskey.
Oh, Jack's got a great question. Would you ever do a Reaper's Playground death match?
Absolutely. One of the death matches I did actually basically did one me and Ryan at XCW um, when I was helping book that show with Playa. Uh, we needed a cool main event and Rage was going to be there, so we were like, "Hey, let's do a Reaper's Playground match. No canvas, wrap barbed wire around one side of the ropes, use all the weapons." And Ryan and I were supposed to do a big hardcore match anyway, so I just asked Rage. I was like, "Would you be bothered if we set up the ring before my match?"
Right.
And we both did Reaper's Playgrounds, and he gave me the blessing to do it. So I'd
Wow.
love to do one with him.
Is that tape somewhere?
I have a highlight reel of it somewhere. The full footage, I don't know what happened to it. There might be a DVD of it floating around somewhere.
I'll send a message to Play and see if he recorded
Yeah,
it.
ask Playa. I know the show was recorded. I just don't know where that footage would be. All I have are like a couple of clips because I had Luke Fury. He helped film it because
Okay.
he was just there hanging out
Right.
for a little bit, and then like I think it was after his match, he was just hanging out
I got you.
and was up in the stands with some of his friends, and I was like, "Hey, film this."
Okay. Okay. I might get a hold of him. He likes keeping a lot of his matches too that he films, so
Yeah,
he might have it too. Let's go ahead and check out this promo. This promo, ladies and gentlemen, is about a year old. We're going to talk promos right after you see it, but I love this promo. There was another one that was more recent, I think in November I saw on there, but I like this one better than that one. So we're gonna watch this one, and then we're gonna talk promos for a few minutes. Then we're gonna watch him in a death match. So here we go.
All right, look. I'm gonna keep this real, simple, short, concise. When I won this title from Ryan Mantis, I told myself that I was going to be a fighting champion. And finally, I get the chance to prove that this Saturday. So at Total Psychopathic Wrestling, or Total Professional Wrestling, whatever you want to call it, they put me up against Travis Dykes. The dude's an absolute madman, and I have all the respect in the world for him. But the problem is, Travis, that from bell to bell, we aren't friends. You're just some dude coming into my house to take what is rightfully mine, and that is the AIWF Hardcore Championship. I just can't let that happen. So let me just go ahead and put it out there for everybody. TPW, the Chatterbox in Knoxville, Tennessee. Be there. Because there will be blood. But there won't be a new champion.
There will be blood, but there won't be a new champion. I love it.
You want to know something cool?
Uh-oh.
I'm still the champion.
There you go. See, that's what I'm talking about.
I am still the AIWF Hardcore Champion.
And who was the last person you defended against?
Let's see. there's been a couple of matches that got set up that had to be canceled just because of scheduling issues or things like that. So I think the last person was Travis.
Okay.
Yeah, we did our match in late November and came out on top of that.
Well, we're gonna have to get you. We're gonna have to get you booked in another match for that belt, man. That belt, just sitting there. We gotta get
I
you.
want to. That's the thing. I want to.
Caleb Crocker said, "Laz,
what's good, my dude?"
He said it. He liked you so much he did it twice. Laz. Think he hit the button twice or something. I don't know, but yeah, we had
Caleb, dude.
a while back.
No, I watched the whole episode.
Okay. So let me ask you this, because I know it's bound to get asked by somebody. Who is your Mount Rushmore of deathmatch? Give me 4 people, not you, not including you. 4 people.
Oh, dude, there is no way I belong on any Mount Rushmore. Let's see. Masada, Madman Pondo, Masashi Takeda.
Okay.
And that last spot, Mickey Knuckles. I got to give Mickey the spot. She's the first woman in deathmatch. She deserves the spot.
Yeah, without a doubt. So we're gonna have a good time. I'm gonna hit a commercial for Retro Toys and Collectibles. I'm gonna set all this up, and we're gonna watch Mr. Lazarus Black in a match. So we get to talk about that. There will be no, you won't hear it because I have to have the volume all the way down, because YouTube is stupid and they hear crowd noise. They think it's music and I get a hit. I don't know why.
That sounds about
really
right.
Dumb, but we're going to watch the match, and it's Lazarus Black versus J.W. Dalton, correct?
Yeah, my Taipei match.
Okay, here we go. So we're going to go ahead and play this commercial, and at the other end of the commercial, it'll all be set up, and we'll start watching them wrestle. We'll be right back.
This is 4-Foot Batman. And 4-Foot Batman knows the home of great collectibles at awesome prices. Retro Toys and Collectibles, movie memorabilia, Magic the Gathering cards, wrestling figures, Hot Wheels, the always popular Funko Pops, and much, much more. He knows the Hall of Collectibles is located in downtown Cherryville, North Carolina, at 400 East Main Street. Give them a call today, 980-989-5181. Retro Toys and Collectibles, the heavyweight champion in collecting.
Yes, please head on out to Retro Toys and Collectibles in Cherryville. If you go in there, tell Cotton, the owner, that hashtag True sent you. You never know what could happen. So here we go. Give us a little bit of information about what we're about to see.
Okay, so this was in the middle of a storyline I was doing. I had gotten into it with the commissioner, which is the guy in the wheelchair. You'll see him as I walk past.
Okay.
We had gotten into it a couple of times. He was trying to hire some people to take me out. And J.W. Dalton was one of those guys. So we decided.
So this is basically a paid assassin to take you out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the match type we landed on was a Taipei match, which, if you don't know, you break glass and then glue it to your fists, and you fight with that.
Oh, okay.
So that's what the shiny spots that you can see on the backs of my hands, those are broken beer bottles.
Okay.
And a lot of people think this is a backyard for some reason. I don't know why someone's backyard would have a massive stage in it.
Right.
This is the Chatterbox Tavern in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Okay. So basically this is a place back there where they can put a band up on stage and people can sit out and watch. And I got you.
Yeah, they've had some great music out there too. And this is one of those matches where we really focused on the story. I mean, little peek behind the curtain. JW and I are really good friends. He's a great guy, who doesn't get enough credit in the wrestling world, to be honest.
Oh, he ducked out real quick right there. He didn't want none of that glove.
I mean, I feel the same way, honestly.
Now, the guy in the wheelchair right over there in the orange jacket, that's who is paying him, right?
Yeah, that's the commissioner. Yeah.
Okay, that's the commissioner. All right. You guys will see it once the camera goes over that way. If you haven't seen it, you'll see a guy in a wheelchair with a bright orange jacket. I mean, it looks like a pretty good place to wrestle. Well lit up.
Oh, dude, it's well lit. It's outdoors, so outside of this time of the year, it's amazing. Because around the time these shows start, it's usually like 65, 70 degrees.
That's not bad for wrestling. I mean, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
When it gets in the 90s, that's when, oh my goodness.
Yeah, and the big issue with right now is when it gets cold, blood thickens up, so it doesn't flow as well.
It coagulates quicker.
Yeah, so these like outdoor deathmatch shows have to kind of go on pause for this time of the year.
Now, that's a question for you. When you get cut or you get hit, do you want to like bleed freely or how, what is the correct way to get injured during a death match? I guess is what I'm asking.
Just let it bleed, man. Let it bleed and add to it if you can.
Is that something that gets your adrenaline pumping?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
When shards of glass are knocked over your head, when back when the guy put the glass in you, he literally poured the shards into your eyes, man, or it looked like he did.
Yeah. It's one of those things where your adrenaline does pop off.
Is that a staple gun?
No, that's the old gusset plate.
Oh, the gusset plate. Oh, these hurt even worse. Oh, here we go. Where are you going to put it? Right on his arm. Oh, slap it right in there. Oh,
yeah. This is a part where I wish you had the ability to have audio, because if you could hear this.
I'll go back. Let me go back a little bit. I'll do the audio. Let's see.
Yeah, you can cleanly hear the headbutt.
Can you guys hear it?
I can hear it a little bit. Listen for it.
Oh, the headbutt first. Ow.
Yeah, you can perfectly clearly hear the headbutt. Because I don't pull him. That was skull to skull.
What has he got?
Oh, he's pulling a piece of glass off the back of his hand to just cut me open.
Oh, he's just going to cut you. Oh!
Yeah. There's certain things that just hurt, and that's one of them.
Oh, my goodness. What do you do? What do you do? I'm going to go ahead and what do you do to get yourself ready for a death match? What do you? I mean, I see sports guys like basketball players, football players. They'll sit down in the locker room and they'll listen to music and get themselves pumped up. What do you do to get yourself pumped up to bleed?
Sometimes it's music. Usually, dude, it's 4 aspirin, 3 beers.
you gotta start killing the pain before you even get out there, right?
Well, it thins your blood out. So when you
okay,
bleed, you bleed.
Okay, the aspirin does, but the beer don't, right?
Yeah, alcohol thins your blood.
Oh, it does. I didn't know
That's why
that.
they tell you not to drink before a tattoo, because it'll make you bleed more.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, for people who wonder if I put staples in my staple guns. It ran out because I had popped like 6 staples in him. But he kept going for it.
You're like, okay, you're done with the staple gun. I mean, people
wait, no, I think there was one more staple. There we go. Yeah.
Now, that's got to be scary, though. Those people are right up on you, man.
Not really, dude. Like those fans are some of the most dedicated fans I've ever seen.
Oh man, he's juicing the crap out of you, man.
Oh yeah, you see it a little bit later when those cuts really start acting up. But
What is he?
oh, he was raking the glass across my arm.
Oh. He's already bleeding where you put that thing in him. He's
Oh
bleeding pretty
yeah.
good over there. You're bleeding from the forehead, and he's working on it too. Now here's where wrestling comes in. Now see, this is what I'm talking about. You got to put wrestling moves in there. Oh wow!
Yeah, good old pile driver.
And he hit it too. Well, oh, arm up. Good deal.
I promise that was a late 2 count. I know you can't hear it. I know you can't see the referee.
Right,
I promise that
right.
was a late 2.
I got you.
These hurt.
What are those? Those
These
look like Japanese sticks of some kind.
those are bamboo skewers.
Bamboo skewer. Oh,
Yeah.
he's about to drive him into your forehead. Oh,
Yeah, those just hurt.
oh.
And here you can see old dude in a wheelchair throw the punch on me.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, he hit me with a loaded fist or something.
Oh, wow. What is he doing?
Oh,
Is
he's
he
stabbing me
poking
in the
you?
crotch.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw what
Yeah.
he was doing. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, man.
This is when you start to see the blood flow on me, though.
Now, there are.
That man,
Go ahead.
that man has the prettiest spine buster on the indies. I don't care.
That was cool. That was really cool. He just didn't cover you fast enough. I can see why you kicked out there. That was a slow cover. What is the weirdest thing you've ever done in a death match? As far as, I know there's light tubes and barbed wire. What is the weirdest thing that's caused you pain that somebody has set up?
Doorknobs.
Doorknobs.
Doorknobs. Someone dumped out like a bunch of doorknobs and I took a suplex onto them.
Oh, the pain. Oh, look at that. Right in the head. Oh. So I can see tax. I mean, tax is normal, stuff like that. John Matthews says A.
Hey.
Eric Riker said, stop lying. All you use is CGI and AI and camera effects. Hope y'all are doing great. He's kidding.
Yeah. You can't see the green screen guys who are just great with liquid latex. They come in, they bleed us out.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I love people who talk junk but ain't brave enough to do it.
Dude, I have wrestled Riker so many times.
But is he brave enough to do this type of match?
Yo, I was so proud of that. I was so proud of that because that dude's every bit of 300 pounds. And I gave him a pop-up Baldo bomb.
Nice. Did you win it after that? Was that the win?
Yeah, that was the finish.
Oh,
just wait though, because you're
there
about
you
to
go.
see the fastest go from the crowd loves me to the crowd hates me ever. Tear him up. And then Keenan's still talking trash.
Oh, no. No. Lazarus.
Look. It's fair. He put his hands on me, I put my hands on him.
Okay. I can see why they turned on you real quick.
And you know what's crazy? Now I go back and they love me. And then it's just...
Oh. Now you guys are just going at it. This is after the match.
Yeah. Yeah, that kept going all the way out into the parking lot. It went violent really quick.
Wow. That is totally awesome. I love that. That was a good match. I mean, it had wrestling, it had the stuff that death match has in it.
The thing is, like, especially in the beginning, we were trying to tell that story of that was both of us in our first Taipei match.
Okay.
So the being scared of getting hit by the glass.
Now, what's the difference in having it just on the back of your hands? And I've seen them do it where they put glue all over it and then they stick it down in there and pull it out.
Budget.
Okay. Sounds good.
I want to do that where you cover your hands in glass and then in glue and then roll them in the glass.
Yeah,
I would love to do that. But we had like 4 beer bottles and just smashed them with a hammer and stuck it on with super glue, I think.
That's it. You got to work with what you got, man. There's no shame in that.
But yeah, the going from in the beginning, we're both terrified of being hit by the glass because we've never had that happen before. We've never been punched with glass.
I didn't see barbed wire in that match. I didn't see syringes in that match.
There was no syringes. There were no light tubes.
It was pretty light for a death match or a
yeah. So the true Taipei is a shoot thing. Where Muay Thai kickboxers will cover their shin guards and their gloves in broken glass and fight.
There you go.
But
my dad's got a really good question. He said, "How long did it take you to recover from that match?"
Oh, dude, I wrestled the next day.
Oh, wow!
Yeah,
another death match or just a regular?
I think it was a hardcore match.
Wow, dude, wow. I hate to ask this, but have you ever had a major? I mean, the cutting the artery I can see is a major. So besides that one, what other major injuries have you had doing deathmatch?
None really. It's honestly like most of the cuts you get are pretty superficial. And even the deeper ones, like you don't have to get stitches every time you get cut. Right. So none really that bad. I've actually been injured more times in regular matches than I have in deathmatch. Oh my goodness.
Speaking of Reaper's Playground, here he is.
Oh shit. That's the dude.
That is the man.
When guys, let's see. I remember not the last match I had with Burns because that was I think that was a Titan show at the Harley Davidson place. It was a benefit show.
Yeah, it's been a while.
But
I remember.
The match before that was the one I always remember. It was me and Ryan against him and Rage Davidson in a hardcore match. And that was the one where I cut my wrist open on a TV screen because Matt DDT'd me into a TV. He also, while pouring blood, called out Cody Rhodes.
Okay.
I think he was actually one of the first people to do that on the Indies before it became a meme. He called out Cody Rhodes.
Right.
And then I think I got put through a table in the end of that. I don't remember. I got concussed like halfway through the match.
Wow. I mean, Matt Burns is one of the toughest around, and don't even try to have a better gimmick bag than him. You won't come close.
Oh no way! That dude's got like 18 sets of gear.
That was the first thing I learned about when I learned about Matt Burns was my buddy Chuck Winchester. Y'all know him. Ivan M. Righteous. He was like, "Man, do you know about his gimmick bag?" I'm like, "What?" And he took me through YouTube and showed me all the different things that he did. I was like, "Oh my goodness!"
So many.
That's not even a quarter of the stuff he's got in that bag. And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, it's crazy." Luke Childers of the Bottom Line. Go check out Luke Childers of the Bottom Line. He is a great podcast. You got to really go and check that out. What's the hardest you've ever been hit? You just said you were concussed. Does that happen a lot? Does that happen a lot?
Concussions are a common occurrence. Yeah. The hardest I've ever been hit. There's two that kind of bounce back and forth which one it is.
Okay.
There's a chair shot that I took recently from Ryan Mantis in our hardcore match at AIWF.
Okay.
And to peek behind the curtain, Ryan forgot that I don't feed a hand.
Okay.
And I was on my knees, so when he swung it, it was everything. That one rocked me. But I know Luke remembers this at the Bunkhouse Brawl at NAWA a few years
Dude,
ago.
I've seen that video at their house. They showed me that video of Chris Thunder Anderson hitting you in the head, and you were done. You were like
breaking the chair over my head. Yeah. I'll never forget. We got to the back, and like in terms of pain, it was not nearly as bad as Ryan's.
Right.
Because when something breaks, it hurts less.
Right.
But there were so many people who were like, "What did Laz do wrong?" Like they thought he was like trying to hurt me. They thought he was shooting on me, and he was like, "Nothing.
Nothing.
Kid took the chair shot. That's all that happened."
Right.
And I mean, realistically, those chairs are not built for that. So if you swing them hard enough,
if you go and watch that, go on Carolina
Wrestling Archives,
and find that match. And oh my goodness, it hurt. I know it hurt.
I think that was also
you probably were out, but it hurt.
I think Luke, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure that was also the match where Chris bitch slapped somebody with a crutch.
Yes, he did a whole lot of things. He won that. I think he won that one.
The stick. The stick. He slapped him in the face with a crutch. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
My dad wants to know, what was your most serious injury?
The artery. Easily the artery. Well, actually, if we're talking about just deathmatch, it was the artery.
Yeah.
But I did fracture a vertebrae in my neck.
Oh, wow.
I was taking a Sister Abigail. It wasn't a serious fracture.
Right.
I mean, I guess any neck fracture is
a fracture.
But it wasn't as serious as it could be. Like I never lost feeling or anything like that. They basically just told me take it easy for a couple months to get it time to heal back up.
There that when you turned your neck, you knew it was there.
When I turned my neck and it sounded like gravel.
Yeah.
To this day, and it was not my fault. It was not the guy I was in the ring with fault. It was Dump Truck. He and I were wrestling in Augusta. He gives me a Sister Abigail and I spike. What we did not realize.
Now, if you guys don't know what he's talking about, spike means his head was flat and his feet were up in the air.
Yeah. What we did not realize was that, one, there was no padding on the ring. We knew that there was thin padding. Like the guys had told us that it was like thin padding. We did not know that there was zero padding.
Oh, wow.
And the other thing was that it was plywood, but there were no straps holding the plywood down like what you're supposed to do. Because usually the padding holds the plywood in place.
Right.
But when I hit, my head came down on the seam of two boards that were off center. And so my neck turned.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, like coming downstairs and your foot not hitting it right, and you kind of
and my head turned. Man. Truck told me that he felt my neck crack in his arm. Because it's a bump I've done 1,000 times. Spike bump. You've seen me do it 1,000 times.
Right.
Misty
said Chris Thunder Anderson is just mean.
And Truck thought that he had killed me. When you watch him pin me, he never puts any weight on me. He's like hovering over me. And the
Okay.
only reason he knew I was okay was because when the ref came over to check on me, I just looked at him. I said, "Tell truck feet around for the super kick." And I got up with a jacked up neck, hit the kick on him, get to the back, and me and him drove home.
Well, that's
And
good. I'm glad to hear you're fully recovered now, right?
oh, absolutely. This was years ago. Also, if you find that match online, you get to see Dump Truck do an enziguri.
Oh, I will have to go. I'm definitely going to go check that out because
I'll
that's
send you the link to it. Dump Truck hit me with an
okay.
enziguri.
Okay. All right, we're going to hit a quick short commercial, and right after that, we're going to do Name Drop, my favorite segment of the show with Lazarus Black. So we'll be right back in about 30 seconds. Here we go.
L&L Fence Company, specializing in custom fencing from wood and aluminum to chain link. 9331 Albemarle Road in Charlotte, North Carolina. Give them a call today for your free estimate. 704-563-9544. L&L Fence Company, the king in custom fencing.
All right, we are at Name Drop, my favorite segment of the show. I'm going to show Mr. Lazarus Black 5 people that I know he either wrestled. I know at least 3 of these he's wrestled, and I know he knows all 5 of them. So we're going to hear a little bit about it. So we're going to start off with this man right here, Mr. Herzog.
Oh, man. Herzog is a terrifying human being. And that man lives in kayfabe, so I will not tell you a single non-kayfabe thing about him.
Okay.
The first time I met him, I almost pissed my pants because I was standing in the back getting dressed, and it was just like an open area where we get
Right.
dressed behind like a fence.
Right.
And it was like 8 o'clock at night, so it's starting to get dark. And I hear like crunching in the woods behind me. And I turn around to see that walking out of the woods towards me. And he had just gone to take a piss. But like it scared me so bad, dude, because he is a legitimate bare minimum 6'5", 6'6".
I watched the match you had with him. It was not. Was
that the one where Ghazi got chokeslammed on top of me with the light tubes?
Yes.
Yeah. Also, the psychopath does not wear knee pads.
No.
and I can't believe it. But all in all, for someone who can't speak English or any other modern language, he's a really cool person.
If you ever watched a promo of his, he doesn't. You can't understand a word. You can't understand a word.
Nope. He speaks some ancient dialect of Neanderthal.
Yes, very much so. All right, name number 2. I know you know this guy very well, Mr. Raven Havoc.
Raven Havoc, literally closer than a brother. I have the majority of my death matches have either been with him or he helped produce it.
Okay.
I trust this dude with my life. He has literally looked at me before and said, "I'm going to put a straight razor to your face and do a crossface." And I said, "Okay."
Oh, wow.
Because I trust him. I've stayed at his house. I've played with his kids. Like, absolute great guy who deserves way more than what he gets from this business. That dude has wrestled. He's wrestled for H2O. He's been Jersey. He's been California. He has traveled and has put in blood, sweat, and tears. And I'm just glad he's back in the wrestling business because he had to take a break for medical reasons.
Yeah. I've watched some of his matches. He goes all out. I mean, all out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I've got to ask you after name drop. I got to ask you another question. We'll probably have a ton of questions, but I have another one. All right, the next name on this list is the man who almost tried to take you out. Hardcore Hillbilly.
Hardcore Hillbilly, dude. Hillbilly is one of the most genuine people I've ever met. For someone who is as brutal as he is in the ring, to talk to him outside of the ring and hear, one, just the amount of wrestling knowledge he has, which he travels around with Necro Butcher. Of course, he has tons of knowledge. And the amount of humility that he has, that dude is going to take over. He's already in XPW. I guarantee he's hitting Japan next year or this year.
Wow. That will be awesome. Now, this guy, I saw him on your page. I'm pretty sure you've wrestled him. If not, you know who he is because he's on your page. Mr. Remington Roar.
So Remington is the guy that was holding me in the clip you played earlier.
Oh, okay. He's the one that was holding you as you were walking off.
No, he's the one that was like dumping the glass in my face. That was Rim.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Another awesome guy. After that match, I actually came back out because they took it home. I came back out with the tourniquet on my arm before I left for the hospital and promised him that we would run that match back, me and him, because Brad Cash retired after that match.
Oh, okay.
And that will be happening this year.
Okay.
And dude, that is another guy who is taking over. There isn't a dude that is in more places at his level than him.
Nice. Very nice. Now, this last guy, number 5, I read what you wrote about him, and I'm not even going to lie. There was a tear coming down my eye. It was that emotional. I could see it in your writing, Mr. Brian Richards.
Brian?
Yes.
Okay, so Suicide King Brian Richards, great guy. He and I share a mentor when it comes to Brad Cash.
Okay.
And we've had opportunities to talk a lot. First time we ever met was at the Suicide King tournament where he won that name. And we became really cool. I wish I would have had more opportunities to wrestle him by now, but hopefully in this year, I'll get a couple of one-on-ones with him. I've only had
you
the
were
opportunity.
talking about the mentor and not Brian. You were talking about the
Yeah.
mentor.
Yeah,
Okay.
So I know what post you're talking about. I was talking about Brad.
Okay.
Brad is legitimately, the guy's 3 years older than me, and he's a father figure to me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was super sad to see him retire, but I also understood why he had to. And he is one of the few people that when he said, I'm not coming back, I told him, I believe you. Because normally when people say they retire, I kind of laughed at them.
Right.
Because no one retires from pro wrestling.
Wrestling retirement is kind of fickle because wrestling's a lifestyle. You can't just walk away from wrestling and just say, okay, I'm just going to walk away. It never happens like that. We've had, wrestlers. I'll use Ric Flair as an example. He retired, 6 times now?
Yeah, Ric Flair and Taker has retired so many times.
Right. I think they're finally done now, but they have come back from retirement quite a few times.
I mean, even Brad's retired. I think this is his 3rd time. But there's a big difference in the fact of, he told me, he was like, I'm not even coming to wrestling shows for the next year. Because I know that if I show up to a show, I'll want to be a part of it.
I got you. Here's the question I was going to ask that hit my mind while we were doing name drop. I was watching a death match the other day. I don't know if you were in it. You might have been. Nope. I know who was in it. The Juggalo Brian White.
Brian White, yep.
And they, of course, beating each other down with light tubes and things like that, cut each other open. And all of a sudden, he grabs this big old trough and he pours this, it looked like acid of some kind on his back. What is that about? Is it alcohol or lime? I mean, there's so many things you can pour on yourself to make yourself scream. I mean, lime juice. What is the worst liquid you've ever had poured on yourself?
knowing Deep South, that was probably rubbing alcohol.
Okay.
I've never done anything like that. I've had salt dumped on me after cuts and stuff.
Ooh.
I go through enough pain when I go to the locker room because it's not a gentle process of cleaning me off. My
Right.
wife is very much under the aspect of if you're gonna be dumb, you better be tough.
Right.
And I'll clean you up, but I won't be nice about it. So when I come through the curtain, shirt comes off if it wasn't already off, and then I hold my arms out, and she has a spray bottle of 91% rubbing alcohol and just sprays me down with that to
I
just
you
sanitize everything.
you have got to feel like you're about to run a marathon when she first starts hitting that spray bottle.
Oh, dude, hands down, I have taken off like sprinting no less than 3 times when she did it. Just spray me down and I'll stand and I'll hold it. And then the second she says, "You're good," I'm gone. I'm taking off. I run away from the pain.
That is great. What is the one thing? Last question, and then we're gonna go, man. We've been here a minute 15. I appreciate you. Come on, everybody, for showing up and showing out on hashtag and watching all my episodes. My numbers are growing substantially. Thank you guys. And I just totally blew what question I had in my mind. Okay, well, we'll do Missy's question. What has been your favorite promotion to work for non-deathmatch plays?
Non-deathmatch. So it comes down to a couple of things because I love different promotions for different reasons.
Okay, that's fair.
With NAWA, it was the crowd.
Oh yeah,
The NAWA crowd is absolutely amazing, and I would love to get back over there.
Mr. Elliott knows how to promote.
Yeah. When it comes to like just the people, like locker room wise, honestly, it's probably AWS.
Okay.
Because Sheik and I are so close. I call him Dad. I don't walk up to him and say, "Hey, Sheik." I just, "Hey, Dad, how's it going?" Anytime I call him, he says, "What's up, son?" Like
There you go. I
it's
like
it's
that
very
though.
much that family relationship with me for them. But when I look at it from just a business perspective, it's in AWA.
There you go.
I did love HWA when I wrestled there. Crowd was hot. People were awesome. I know all of those guys. Just it's hard for me to get the schedule to line up there.
I got you. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I mean, you go bigger, you go bigger, you go better. There's nothing wrong with it. And I'm not saying HWA is not big and bad, but hey, if you got to go to, you got to move around. I understand that, But what I love about independent professional wrestling is when a wrestler like yourself will go to a place like HWA, get involved in a storyline, and at least stick around long enough to finish the storyline before you quit.
Yeah, and that's one of the big reasons I am very careful about where I go. Because for me, deathmatch is my priority. So if I set up a booking that's like 6 months out,
Right.
and then a deathmatch company calls me 3 months out and is like, "Hey, we need you." Obviously, I'm going to give you that 3 months of heads up to say, "Hey, I can't make it."
Right.
But I don't want to be in a position where I am uh, being put into a storyline, then have to do that.
Right.
That's why a lot of times I'll tell people, like, don't put me in any like big storylines.
Does it hurt? Would it
Because
hurt your feelings if you went to, and I call it normal, but just because it's not death match, but if you went to a normal wrestling organization and they were like, "Okay, we can't put you over because you can't stick around," would that
no,
upset you? Okay.
no, not at all, dude. And
Okay.
also, like, the truth of the matter is winning obviously means something in wrestling. I'm not one of those people who say it doesn't matter if you win or lose.
Right. Right.
Because it does.
You
Even
do
though
want one.
it's choreographed, it helps your name. It helps engagement to your pages and stuff like that. But at the same time, I hate the people who don't want to make wrestling a better place when they leave. I want the guys who are coming after me to be bigger and better than I ever get in my career. And sometimes it's something as small as the hometown big name.
Right.
Like, I'm a decent name in Gastonia and Knoxville and places like that.
Right.
Like, sometimes it's something as small as me putting this younger guy over, and that
Right.
gets him booked at this promotion, which has this eye on it, which gets him this place.
Right.
I've never had a problem putting someone over who puts in the effort to make sure that they are in that position.
There you go. See, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not, you're not talking about just like full blown out train him. You're saying I'm going to wrestle him. I'm going to lose to him to put him over so he looks good for another promotion.
Yeah, and also there's this whole idea of getting over and going over being the same thing when it's not. Like, you can lose a match and still get over.
Right.
And you can win a match and still be buried.
Right.
I've seen both things happen.
I have
and
to.
There's been a couple of times where, you know, someone told some younger kid to put me over. Kid was cool with it. And like, as long as their like attitude is really chill and I can tell they're really respectful about the wrestling business and stuff, I am going to make them, like, I'm not going to go out there and be some douchebag that's like, oh, you're 100 pounds, so I'm not gonna sell that you hit me.
I'm not gonna sell that you punched me. I'm not gonna sell that you did it right. I got you.
Because I don't care if a kid's 100 pounds or 300 pounds. If he punches you in the face, it still hurts.
No doubt. No doubt.
So, like, the idea that some people have of not wanting to put someone over and then like getting mad when companies ask them to put someone over, it doesn't make any sense to me.
All right, we're going to hit the last segment of my show, and it's a real easy segment. It's called Tell Us Where to Find You. So I'm going to hit this small intro video. Then we're going to put a poster up here, and we're going to talk about some of the places Lazarus Black is going to be in the near future.
Hashtag Truth Podcast. Hashtag Truth. Speaking truth. Yeah, we'll never back down. Hashtag Truth. Shining light on the underground. Hashtag Truth. Uncovering what they don't want known. Hashtag Truth.
All right, here we go. I'm going to put this poster up because you gave it to me to put up first, and you can explain to everybody what it is and how to get there and the whole 9 yards. There we go.
Okay, so January 24th at the Odd in Asheville, PWA is hosting the first show for the Wired Jaw Social Club. The Wired Jaw Social Club is no ring, no pinfall, no surrender. It is knockout, chokeout. That is your only option. You either get beat down or you get choked out. We will have burlesque dancers that perform.
So this is an adult show. We got to make that clear right away.
Yes. Okay. So I got the confirmation. This is a 21 and up show.
Okay.
Which I'm pretty sure the venue is 21 and up anyway.
Right.
It's a bar. It is very much a alternative bar.
Okay.
But it is a very cool place. We have burlesque dancers coming in and performing.
Oh, wow.
We have plans in the future to have some big deathmatch
So is it
names
basically
coming
like
in.
when you look up on YouTube and you see the bar fight kind of thing where they're, you know, doing the hardcore, you know, you just go until you can't get up. If they can't get some do the 10 count, some do where they just give up. They have to tap or something. Is that basically what this is?
Yeah, basically. We're going by knockout or chokeout, or I guess submission counts. But
I mean, if they're doing this when you're choking them out, they're telling you, "Hey, I submit." So
yeah, but by our rules, you don't technically have to let go.
Oh. So are you trying to say something, Lazarus Black? You're not going to let somebody go if you're choking them and they're like, okay, I'm done. No, you're not. No, you're not.
Yeah, if you're not asleep, you're not done yet. And if you tap out and you give up, well, then I have less respect for you because you could have kept fighting.
Okay, I could see that.
But yeah, we're gonna have burlesque dancers. It's a great place. There's good alcohol there, like there is at bars. We have plans. This is going to be in the future when PWA starts its full-time run in April. This will kind of be mine and Ghazi's brainchild. This is our home. This is what we are creating. She
are you
has
going to be at any other shows before April?
So yes, I will be at AWS on their scheduled shows. I will be at SNEW on their scheduled shows. I am in talks with some dates with Total Psychopathic in Knoxville. Possibly going down to Blood and Honey again in Atlanta. Just waiting on the like hard dates for that.
Okay.
But if you guys keep your eye on my page, you'll see the flyers for the shows I'm at.
So what are your pages on social media?
So on Facebook, Lazarus Black. On YouTube, it's the Black Society. Instagram is Lazarus Black 666. I think TikTok and X or Twitter are the same way. Yeah, basically, if you can't find me under just Lazarus Black, you'll find me under Lazarus Black 666.
I got
across all social media.
There you go. Well, there you have it, guys. I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight and asking questions. Missy, my dad, Luke Childers, my gosh, man. Eric Riker showed up, Caleb Crocker, Jack Morgan, Sean Duffy. I mean, Ben Wright showed up, Tommy Scott. We had all kinds. Mama Hester, my daughter showed up for a little bit. We just had a good time tonight. Lazarus, you know that you're welcome here anytime you want to come on, man. I wish you well in the future, and I hope you get your jacket. If you ever get that jacket, you got to come on. You got to promise me you'll come on.
Dude, I promise you, if I get a Ribera Steakhouse jacket in Tokyo, Japan, I will call #Truth.
There you go. We'll definitely have you on because I want to know what that jacket's all about. And you have to go over there to get it, right?
Yeah, you got to wrestle in Tokyo.
So
because
you got to bring pictures back.
You
got to bring pictures back, and we'll put them up here in the whole 9 yards, man. It would be a fun night.
I'll tell you what. When I come back for the jacket show, I will bring you the history of the jacket.
Oh, that would be even better. That would be a great show, man. I appreciate that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end the show like this. Lazarus Black, the Boulevard Street Butcher. He is a wrestler. He is a deathmatch wrestler. He's a good friend of mine. You guys got to go check him out. He is one of a kind, and that is the #Truth. We'll see you guys next week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 7 o'clock. We're doing Florida week. I got 3 great Florida wrestlers, starting off with JC Black, a great female who has wrestled in our area. So there are videos of her. I think she wrestled at SNU one time. So
she did.
There you go. So we'll have her coming on Monday. I can't wait for that. I've got the week after that all planned out. It's all up there on my page. So go check it out. Thank you very much. And like I said, go check out Lazarus Black. If you like deathmatch, you will definitely love watching him wrestle. And that is the #Truth. We'll see you guys Monday.
All right.